yeah. Thank God we all live in America. Ooh, yeah, yeah. I'm singing the blues. I'm really singing the blues on you guys. I'm so sorry for singing all these blues. It's getting too ridiculous out there. Can you believe the sprinkle on my hand? Na 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 na. Me and Professor Snape get into trouble where we're late. Got Hermione right. Harry bout to catch that snitch. And if our boy loses his glasses, it don't matter cause we got Hagrid. Harry knows how to romance in court. Got a bad side, call it Voldemort. Jenny Hermione wanted a threesome with the flick of the wand. Harry knows how to please them. You're a wizard, Harry. 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 And you know, Voldemort, he ain't so scary, no. And when Harry's scar starts to burn, that's when Voldemort gonna learn. First he hits him with that stupefy, Wingardium Leviosa, now we gonna fly. Alright. Thank God I am not suffering from what's not happening anymore, baby. We're going to get into self and how you are not your thoughts, right? And that's my biggest disagreement with Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson, who happens to have the #1 podcast in America right now. That's the most watched podcast, the Nick Fuentes, who I just learned about. And I got to say, ladies and gentlemen, you fine and dandy 10 out of 10s, you beautiful 10 out of 10s, you. I got to say, I like the kid. I really do. I'm a little bit older than him. I'm his elder. Respect your elder, Nick Fuentes. But I got to say, the kid's got balls. The kid's got balls. And people are always asking the media, why do they like Nick Fuentes? Well, for one, he says what's on his mind. And young men like that, they go, this is a guy who's not scared to say what he thinks. So in Christianity, he's expressing what he is. He's not following suit. He's going against the grain. And I gotta tell you, people, you guys already know this if you're an avid listener, I have always had a dislike for authority. I've always had a dislike for authority. So he goes against the grain. The other thing that's interesting is, and this is a shell shocker. He might get shell shocked by hearing this. He's not talking about trans and LGBT and being gay. He's a normal dude. What? He's just a normal dude? That's why people listen? Yes. Do young men even like politics? No. But that's the best they have is Nick Fuentes right now. How hilarious is that? And sure, a lot of people jumped ship and swam quicker than the trans chick on Cornell or University of Penn. That's it. They swam quicker than her, dude, with the big feet. Paddling. They swam so quick over to the conservative ship. But guess what, people? They're both sinking. And you know what's very scary to me? And we'll get into why I disagree with Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson, because they're all like, identity politics. We hate them. They literally say that. And then Tucker Carlson gives Nick Fuentes a chance to explain his thoughts and stuff. He goes, well, I'm a Catholic. I'm just a Catholic Republican. And he literally uses identity politics to explain who he is. And I'm sitting there thinking, you're so much bigger than that, Nick Fuentes. You're not your thoughts. Case in point, you are the observer of your thought. If you're thinking Ross of Nazareth is the most handsome and most comedic podcast host in the multiverse. Well, of course, but you're observing that thought. If we went around truly believing that we're our thoughts, we'd all be in a psych ward. For real. That's how crazy our thoughts are. That's what the mind does. It just comes up with thoughts. So to attach yourself to the ship that you swam so fervently to get to from the dying left, you're on this new conservative ship. But guess what? That's also sinking as well. And the way I see it is politics in any fashion, even if you're a Tucker Carlson or Nick Fuentes who needs politics. It's the new opiate for the masses. They need it to survive. That's their business. Politics. Get the people to watch. Make up stories, Alex Jones style. The world's ending. Oh no. Well, when you realize that it's just shape-shifting nonsense, and it's always been like that, and that's the Bible, folks. And it's the first commandment. That's all you got to know. Every sin gets traced back to the first commandment. You put something before God. The Bible, Old Testament, is we're going to put government or politics in front of God. You get wiped out. Repeat. I don't mean to do a Cliff Note summarization of the Bible. However, that's pretty close. That's pretty close to it. We're going to put something in front of God and we're going to get wiped out. And that's what people are doing, including Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson. They're putting politics. Who cares, dude, about politics? But I'm going to cry the blue just like them. A little special treat, because you never know what you're going to get on the anti-George Carlin podcast. And this is really a special treat. Because I cry the blues harder than any of them. I really cry the blues. But like I said, I'm on the stands watching the game being played. I'll admit, I used to play the game, but now I don't. And, just today I had a pebble in my shoe. Can you guys believe this stuff? In America, a pebble in my shoe. It's crazy. Crazy. Next thing you know, I go to Chipotle and I use the fountain drink, right? Because I don't like the cans. And I get a sprinkle. I get a sprinkle on my hand. This is insane. So I'm really crying the blues now. And then the next thing you know, my contacts, and right now they're super dry. I gotta rub my eyes. This is ridiculous. So here's a little song about crying the blues. A tiny pebble, tiny pebble. I got a tiny pebble in my shoe. Tiny pebble, tiny pebble. I gotta kick off my shoe and give that tiny pebble the boot. Ooh, yeah. I'm really singing the blues now. Got a sprinkle on my hand, cause I didn't want the soda can. I specifically said I want my drink from the fountain. But it's not every soda machine, just the ones that aren't touch screen. I got a sprinkle on my hand and it's really starting to annoy me. It's really grinding my gears, this sprinkle on my hand. Now I gotta rub my eyes, cause my contacts are getting dry. I got a pebble in my shoe, sprinkle on my hand. Now I gotta rub my fucking eyes again. Now I'm naked in the YMCA steam room. Oh no, is that same gay dude? He sits right next to me, but I pretend like it's not happening. These are minor annoyances, first world problem list. But you gotta admit, it's better than the alternative. We could be dying of malaria or getting eaten by big tigers that scare you. Thank God we all live in America. Ooh, yeah. I'm singing the blues. I'm really singing the blues on you guys. I'm so sorry for singing all these blues. It's getting too ridiculous out there. Can you believe this sprinkle on my hand? Can you guys believe this stuff? I got a sprinkle on my hand and a pebble right on my shoe. I can't believe this stuff. I had to take off my shoe and kick that pebble down the road. I said, not my shoe, pebble. A tiny, tiny pebble. It was a tiny pebble. Very tiny. It snuck right in my boot. And I couldn't get the pebble out. I couldn't. This pebble was resilient. It was recalcitrant. It was a recalcitrant pebble. And the next thing you know, I'm taking off my boot. I'm getting dirty now. I got to kick off my boot right in the middle of doing a live broadcast. I was on the air. My transmission was being sent out, folks. And I finally got the pebble out, but it was an ordeal, to tell you the truth. But I'm here, rain or shine, pebble in my shoe or not, for the American people. And that you have a Ross and Nazareth promise on that, because I love all you. And you guys support the operation. A little grazie for Ross and Nazareth here, pebble in my shoe. All right, so here's the deal. I think politics are dumb. I really do. It's a shapeshifter. That's what politics are. The left and right shouldn't make any sense to anyone. Like taxes at this point. We go, what? You spent our tax money on who and where and why and what? I need answers. And yet everyone's still going along. You gotta drop the act. No, the young people see through this. Nick Fuentes is the closest thing that young people have that go, wait, no, he's kind of normal. And that's where comedians come in. I can do it all, folks. I can entertain, break down subject matter that's confusing to people and just give you a straight shot. Here's what it is. Spirituality. And if you go, spirituality, come on, dude. Really? You're going to hit me with spirituality? Well, here's the thing. If you're a human being, you're spiritual. You really are. You can't argue with this. These are just vessels, man. These physical, you have the mind, body, and in Christianity, you have the soul, right? Or in another podcast, I was talking about evolutionary biology, and your ancestors, your DNA are literally ghosts. They're inside you. You have the power of all your ancestors. I don't care if you're a naturalist, materialist scientist, or a evangelical Christian. You can't argue with the facts. Evolution or science, they're actually pretty connected. And in the 1400s, may I add, the Catholic Church invented the natural sciences. So you could say that they're simpatico, literally. But yet there has to be a division. We are so divided in America, right and left. Oh no, science versus religion. And these dummies haven't cracked a book open. Who started science? Oh, it was the Catholic Church. Okay, shut up. Could it be the same? Why is the sixth commandment so similar to the first law of thermodynamics? Thou canst kill. That's the correct translation of the commandment. And the first law of thermodynamics, you can't create nor destroy energy. Why are they so simpatico? It's because religion and science are answering the same questions, or that's what was intended for science. People in the Catholic Church wanted to know what God was. So here comes the sciences. And we're getting close, but, at this point, I think it's a safe bet to start praying. Because it works. Prayer works, and we don't have to go back into all this stuff. My one disagreement with Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes was simply, don't get sucked into a black hole. There's no, and maybe I'm speaking to myself, because I did get sucked. When this last election, I would have dreams. I'm like, I put RFK and Trump's banners or whatever, and RFK was gonna do this thing called "We the People," and I even put it in my office at work. How crazy is that? However, when Trump won and RFK is doing the Maha, Make America Healthy Again, and he's doing a wonderful job, in my opinion, RFK. Oh, what a godsend, man. I liked him before RFK just because I'm in the environmental field. I saw all the good he was doing prior to Maha. What a crazy name. Maha. It's the Maha Blast. I'll take one. Oh, wait. We can't have Maha Blast at Taco Bell anymore, unfortunately. But fortunately, we can do carrot juice and carnivore diets. This is poison. Everything's poison, people. But it really is, man. And you see family members that have like crazy arthritis and stuff from carbohydrates, because that carbohydrates cause inflammation, and arthritis is literally inflammation. They say it's like 80% diet for arthritis. That's insane. No one even wants to try a diet. They're like, I guess I'll accept my arthritis. It's like, come on, geez. Try a steak and eggs in the morning or something. Just don't eat carbs for a day. See how you feel. I don't know. Try it. Anyways, so Nick Fuentes is the closest thing the younger generation of men have to normalcy. So hopefully this it's like a pendulum. It has to go to the extreme and it will balance out. It will always balance out, folks. So don't get your panties in a bunch. The end times are not coming. It's not the end of the universe. I've been saying this for 5 years now. It's not the end times. Live your life. Be happy. Be free, baby. I used to say, stay local, stay present, stay free. And that's a great way to wrap this wonderful podcast up. You guys are amazing. Ross and Nazareth out. Anti-George Carlin podcast for life.